who gave elaborate introduction to climate crisis and water crisis and what we can do it, all about it. But there are fundamental issues actually which are not being addressed at the respective country levels and also at the COP level. We need to look into these, gaps, and how do we go further and realize the real emergency of water crisis. You see, climate change, say, for the last 27 conferences and all, discusses more on energy, emissions. Yes, emissions are the root cause of the entire problem. Heating up is the added fuel to it. But the thing is, the impact is direct and indirect on water cycle. Water cycle, once the water cycle gets disturbed, as we are witnessing today for the last 1 decade, heavy rains, short duration, aggravated melting of snow peaks, floods, dry land areas getting more and more water, cloudbursts. Not only this, the entire livelihood of the people across the world on water-centered livelihoods like agriculture, pisciculture, and etc., etc., is at a bigger stage. The second thing is, it's not only the water cycle which is getting affected, and in turn, impacting on the lives of the human psyche, human health, and it is also promoting a lot of vector-borne diseases across the world. Every time when we look at COPs, the discussions, it starts with emissions, reduction in emissions, commitments, and who pays what. And even in COP27, they have come out with the statement that polluters to pay. And this is the statement which was there since 1984, Bhopal gas tragedy. And it validates even to this date, I do not deny it. But how long? Where we put an end to it? We are not discussing on the real impacts of the water crisis. The irrevocable damages on the agriculture sector, the fish production, livelihood of farmers and fishermen, and followed up, food chain systems. We are not looking into all these things. We are also not looking into the number one, the source management of the water sources, the source management of the rivers, source management of the lakes. Several tributaries, small and medium tributaries of the major river systems are vanishing rapidly. The source water of the river origin catchments are getting concretized in India, like Kerala, Pune, and also in Telangana in some parts, now in Andhra Pradesh. It's going on. And mindless development in Himalayas. So where are the policies on source water management, protection, conservation? We are not addressing it. We are not even discussing in the COP27. Before we go to the COP27, did we discuss on climate change and its impact on water resources in the country at each state level and each local governing body level? No. India is a highly diversified country, culturally, naturally, ecologically. And water distribution is, quite varied here. Some parts of India, they get a lot of water. Some parts of India are perennially drought. Do we have, some kind of a people's statements on water crisis and climate change before we step into COPs 27 and talk? We are only talking on emissions, coal consumption, and what is the role of the rich countries to pay for all these things. And this year, we are talking on loss and damage. We are not moving much ahead. Once we talk of loss and damage, I think the second step the corporate sector and the rich countries will introduce is the insurance, climate insurance. We are looking into climate change and water crisis as a business platform. We are not looking into the climate crisis through water perspective in an humanitarian and ecological perspective. The leaders of the present day have collectively failed in delivering any promises at the COP27. And coming back to India, we talk of Jal Shakti, rainwater harvesting and all that. But thing is, unless and until we come out with a specific monitoring mechanisms, auditing mechanisms, we will not able to achieve anything in this crisis management. Yes, crisis management is look towards and immediate steps to take. But do we have trained manpower who can work at ground level? Do we have the trained manpower at the state level, mandal level, and regional level, and at the national level? Is there it? I suggest that we should have a debate on incorporating the water auditing and climate auditing. We need to initiate climate auditing for every region. Take water and start initiating it. It's easy, all these scientific tools which we all tell, rainwater harvesting, those gardens she was referring about. Yes, we have in our Rajiv Gandhi National Airport, we have these gardens all along. But these are only cosmetic treatments. We have not mainstreamed the mechanisms of water conservation in urban planning. Forget about urban planning. Even in our national planning, it's only the national climate mission we have, and we talk many things. But does this national climate mission, the actions envisaged in it, are part of any other action plans? I have my own doubts. In our own state, we have Mission Bhagiratha, which is an ambitious program. Does they included the water and climate crisis? Is there any report on water and climate crisis within the framework of Mission Bhagiratha and Kaleshwaram project, like major irrigation projects? No. The national highways, construction rampantly, they are killing all the watersheds of this country. Is there any report on that? No. We do not know how many rainwater harvesting structures are there in my city, which directly treat, filter, and collect the water, and how much of stormwater flooding it is mitigating. No. Yes, Karnataka is in the forefront on the rainwater harvesting. Even the data on rainwater harvesting with in connection with the climate change in the rain, urban flooding, it's not there, because the governments have not realized the importance of water. We only talk of alternate energies like solar energy. as if solar energy is the only solution to it and it can take care of anything. And electric vehicles, they can take care of it. You see, there is no alternative for water. Either you recycle and drink the same shit water, or you die. Unlike energy, you have several options in it. And there is no emphasis on energy auditing, energy efficiency, water auditing, water efficiency, usage efficiency in terms of climate change. What is the use of talking everything in isolation and claiming that we are delivering the things through a telescopic vision? It's very difficult. It's time for the people. I sometimes, yes, the system, the subsystems in any given larger ecosystem have their own responsibilities, functions in it. So are we recognizing those functions in it, both social and ecological functions? Social functions, yes, the governance has its own responsibility, policymakers. What kind of a policy they are developing to their states and down the lane to their districts and the mandals to the revenue departments level and the nation. Do we have any yardsticks for it? Are we giving any targets to industrial sector in our state or to the country? Industrial sector, the mass transport system? No, we do not have any targets or goal within the sector. We are only talking in terms of generalized things. It's enough. It's 27 years. I feel sometimes the environment movement we started way back and which picked up from 1984 in India and came together in 1992 in Rio summit, had good platform of discussing the things on diversified activities, multifaceted problems, and multidimensional approaches. But whereas COP climate, it has totally diverted the entire attention to the energy business, corporate sectors, responsibilities. And, we do not talk of the water. And today, the water is being commercialized. Water has become a commodity for sale. Some of the African countries are, they are giving away merrily the natural springs. And India, we have also given part of the Mahanadi and other rivers to corporate sectors. Then, where is the people's participation in it? Where is the community's participation in it? So we need to understand the stakes of the stakeholders in climate water crisis and come out with climate water auditing together. Train the people and fix the targets, identify, evolve a goal for each watershed in this country. It's very easy. COP27 is completed and people will come tired and then again we say government of India with Jal Shakti and all that. This is not the way. How many rivers in our state are in good form, healthy form? How many lakes are releasing the methane gas? The Telangana state itself has more than 65,000 small and medium water bodies and 4,000 and odd lakes in and around Hyderabad. All emanate methane gas, of course, with different degrees of proportions. Then we are not talking of the methane gas emissions from the contaminated water bodies. How do we ensure the the health of the urban water bodies. What is the role of the urban water body in regulating the urban floods, mitigating, and the open green spaces we are talking? It's good in the theory. Last 25 years, I conducted several training programs on open green spaces and urban planning. We do not, we damn care about the buffer zones, green zones. Today, everything is gone. Hyderabad has 0.05 square meters per capita open space, thickly, densely populated in the core areas. Just because we have expanded our city, we have included all the present green spaces in the peri-urban areas. We call our city as the green city. Is this an artistic point? So we need to look into the carbon footprint and water auditing climate. So merely these things, we are not able to bring a convergence between the departments functioning on different aspects of climate and water, urban planning, water resources, panchayat raj system, municipal corporations. They are not coming to a convergence to address the solutions. We need to look into this. This is the important issue. And more so, ours is a democratic country. Of course, it validates for any democratic country in the world. But we are seeing the most pathetic and unfortunate situation of the democracy in our country. None of these issues, water crisis, climate crisis, energy crisis, they do not figure out in the elections campaign. Election campaign is always dominated by the liquor and money. Where are we heading to? Let's not come out with, the Sukti Muktavali, what we are talking about it. We need to come out with strategies. We have enough strategies, but we need to have a motivational strategies which has a viable implementation to achieve the goal through collective efforts. This is most important. Otherwise, this country with 75% of the dry land may face unusual floods and end up with tragedy. We have to sensitize people, bring more awareness on them. We have to also build a policy lobbying, a pressure group lobbying at different levels of the governance system. The governance and the policy makers may change once in 5 years or once in 3 years. We are not bothered about it. The most dangerous culprits are the government employees, the executives. And all are not bad. You have good, bad, and ugly in the entire system. We need to initiate the viable, practical implementation actions and make them possible for replication. This is most important at this hour of the day. And blue-green infrastructure, and I do not agree with many people on, we need to balance with gray infrastructure to blue-green infrastructure. No. Where is the water infrastructure in this country? The most important thing is, what is that we are prioritizing with in a climate and water crisis? We have all the grey infrastructure, flyovers, underpasses, east pass, that pass, mass transport, metro transport, everything. We do not have dedicated drains for sewage water in this country. What is a shame on it? And we also claim that we have 5,000 years of agrarian history. We are masters in water management. Yes, we were masters, and we are slaves in the hands of the policymakers today. Our mind is not free. We only claim. తెలుగులో ఒక సామెత ఉంది, తాతలు నేతులు దాగినారు మా మూతులు వాసన చూడండి. Enough of these preachings for us. We need to look into the practical and what we need to prioritize the things. We cannot have the investments for 5% of 10% of the rich people moving on 30 lakhs, 50 lakhs, 1 crore worth vehicles, the flyovers, etc. The country has more than 75%, more than that, 50% are people living in middle class sections, and then people below the poverty line. Do they have access to the protected water? Do they have access to the environmentally safe sanitation? Right in Hyderabad, I can show couple of the bastis where people dig 2 to 3 feet pits, take whatever the water that oozes off, filter it and drink it. Is this the development? And we claim that Hyderabad is world-class city, and today we have the car racing. It's not the car racing. It is the government should assure protected drinking water. It's its primary responsibility. How it tackles, people should tell them. The community should tell them. We are losing our priorities in this direction. So, before concluding, I say it is the water infrastructure that is most important and should be prioritized with a climate change perspective in the entire country. We are not looking into the water infrastructure, the needs of the water infrastructure, and only blaming the climate change for urban flooding. We are not reviewing our urban planning at heat pockets within the urban areas. We are not reviewing, auditing the green spaces in the. We have to have, I feel, another auditing is auditing of 5 resources: water, land, water, energy, space, and wind. We are blocking the wind movement in the cities, and we are also blocking the rainwater that reaches the ground. So we need to have the review the town planning with a perspective to climate change. This is the high time, and I wish the CJR will take this forward and brings out many more, not only the online discussions, but also on the auditing aspects of climate and water crisis. Thanks for giving me the opportunity.